Here I am in Turkey. This is day 3 after having had my hair transplant, and I feel good. But let me go back. So the first and hardest decision to make was to actually have a hair transplant. Like many people, I've been thinking about this for some years and finally made the decision to go ahead and jump into the deep end, so to speak. So then it was a question of where should I have my hair transplant and which company should do this. And through a recommendation, I approached a company called Treataway, who have a relationship with Burton Hospital in Bursa in Turkey. And so I made quite a quick decision to come. And I think also, like a lot of people, I was a little bit uncertain what I would experience when I arrived. The company was very good in providing videos and information that could answer all of my questions. But the real experience is you only live when you actually are in the situation. So one of the things that was very appealing to me was that the company organized all of my transfers from the airport. They arranged the hotel. All of the transfers between the hotel and the hospital have been arranged. And so the whole process was made very easy for me. I was met at the airport, arrived at my hotel, had a restful night, and the next morning, quite early in the morning, I arrived at the clinic and met Ibrahim and the rest of the team, very welcoming people. And the process started quite quickly, and that was good because it didn't give me too much time to think or worry about what would happen to me. So the first part of the process is to meet with Ibrahim, for him to take a look at my hair. I'd been asked to grow it for 6 weeks, so he could see my natural hairline, where my original hairline was, where I'd lost my hair, and also make an assessment as to how I should look. And this was done in consultation with me. It wasn't something that he just decided alone. He was always asking my opinion. And then the process begins with a shaving of my head, and then moving on to a process of extracting the hair follicles and hairs that would be used for the transplant. I think I was very fortunate that I talked very openly with Ibrahim and the rest of the team here about my requirements. And finally, actually, I was able to extract more hairs from the donor area than I had anticipated. And I have received a full coverage of my head where the transplant was needed, therefore not necessitating a second visit to the hospital. So the process after the extraction, I mean, to start with, you have the hair removed from your donor area. I only experienced a tiny amount of pain while the local anesthetic was administered to my donor area. But once the process of removal of the follicles and the hair started, I didn't feel any pain whatsoever. I had a little bit of discomfiture from the position that I had to lay, but I think most people probably wouldn't suffer that. You're in a position similar to having a massage or something similar. So that process took about 2 hours. And from there then I had a small rest, met with Ibrahim again, and we then looked at the hairline that I would actually have, and based on the number of follicles that had been extracted, which area could be covered, which finally was everything that I wanted. We had a small break, I had some lunch. At no time did I feel nauseous or sick or have to have any kind of break from the treatment process. The only breaks I took were to use the toilet, the restroom, and that was possible whenever it suited me to do so. The team were always very helpful and very informative. There was a translator available who provided all of the information that I needed should there be any confusion because of language. And in the afternoon then we started to proceed to prepare my transplant area for the hair transplant. This is a process of making various cuts, I guess I could call them, into my scalp to receive the donor hair. That process took about an hour and a half, 2 hours. And after another short break, we then proceeded to actually receive the donor hair into the transplant area. I had a team of sometimes 3, sometimes 2 people working on my head at the same time. And that process took about 3.5 to 4 hours. I received somewhere in the region of 4,500 hair follicles, hairs, in the transplant. So it was quite a long day, but at the end it was finished. My head was bandaged once the work had been completed. I was given clear instructions as to how I should sleep that night, how I should be mindful of the transplant area and not risk losing any of my transplanted hair. So I then was returned back to my hotel for the evening. It wasn't the most pleasant of nights. I had to be very careful how I slept. I didn't want the transplant area to be affected by my sleeping positions, and I was instructed on that. The next day was a rest day, so that would be the third day. Second day was a complete rest day, and I took things very easy. I didn't go outside. I stayed in my hotel. Just I could eat. I had no problem with eating or drinking. Certain drinks I wasn't allowed to have, such as coffee with caffeine and the alcohol. But basically I had a restful day. I had a better night's sleep on that night. And then on the third day, which is my 4th day in Turkey, I was collected again at the hotel, brought back to the hospital, again met with Ibrahim and his team. I had my first hair washing, which is a process involving application of a foam, which helps the head to heal. Had to wait 30 minutes and then had a very light shampoo with special shampoos, and was also instructed on how to wash my hair during the following days. And here I now am, ready to depart from the hospital, return to the UK with a new head of hair, and I feel extremely happy. I'm delighted with the service that I received from all of the team at Bursum, and I cannot fault them in any way whatsoever.